Welcome to Bloomers in the Garden. I'm Len Schroeder.
And I'm Julio Zamora.
In our first segment, we're going to talk about Amaryllis, all the ways you can buy them and how to get them to come back, too.
Next up on today's show, we're going to talk about a fantastic holiday flowering plant, the Christmas cactus.
In our third segment, we're going to give you a refresher on how to take care of that poinsettia you just got.
In our fourth segment, we're going to talk about what to do when you get your fresh-cut Christmas tree.
This segment is for the birds. A listener texted us and reminded us about a natural winter source of bird food from a very annoying plant. We'll fill you in on our final segment.
So stay tuned, and we'll be back in the garden right after these messages. Bloomers in the Garden is brought to you each week by Bloomers Home and Garden Center. Bloomers is an award-winning garden center just 20 minutes from Philadelphia. Bloomers has been providing expert advice turning brown thumbs green for over 30 years. At Bloomers, we want you to ask us every question, even if you think it's silly. We share information in a friendly, non-judgmental way that is meant to teach and spread the joy of gardening. Visit Bloomers Home and Garden Center in Washington Township, Gloucester County. For directions, go to bloomers.com, and we'll see you in the garden.
Hi, this is Len Schroeder from Bloomers in the Garden. Do you have a landscape, garden, or plant question? If so, call or text us using the Bloomers in the Garden hotline. Dial 609-685-1880. That's 609-685-1880. Don't be shy. We want to hear from you. Call or text us and let us know what problems you're facing. Let us know how we're doing. Call or text 609-685-1880. If we use your comment on the air, we'll send you a free Bloomers t-shirt. Call or text us at 609-685-1880. That's 609-685-1880. And we'll see you in the garden. Fertilum's azalea and evergreen food plus systemic insecticide 915-3 contains 5 micronutrients which are designed for azaleas and evergreens to provide the proper nutrients and producing stunning green leaves and essential new growth while protecting the plant from damaging insects for up to 8 weeks. Fertilum's azalea and evergreen food contains 9% nitrogen for green growth, building bigger stems and leaves, 15% phosphorus for root growth and increased flower production, 13% potash to promote vigorous growth so plants are better able to resist disease and cold. The micronutrients are the icing on the cake to enhance further growth, strengthen, and beautify color. Tired of seeing your plants prematurely drop their leaves, the flowers disappear? Fertilum's azalea evergreen food plus systemic insecticide 915-13 contains an easy-to-apply insecticide that keeps your azaleas and evergreens looking great all year long. Those hungry insects do not have a chance. Apply in spring before buds sprout and continue throughout the season as indicated on the label growing guide. Fertilum's azalea and evergreen food plus systemic insecticide 915-13 with micronutrients is a must for the passionate azalea and evergreen grower to help produce that beautiful abundance of color and fantastic fragrance everyone will love. So next time you visit your favorite garden center, pick up Fertilum's azalea and evergreen food plus systemic and expect to have the best looking shrubs in the neighborhood. Neighbors Garden Center, Main Street, Hellertown, PA. Rhodes Garden, Delcab Pike, North Wales, Pennsylvania. Rourke Farm Supply, Elmer, New Jersey. You're listening to Bloomers in the Garden Radio. Listen anytime through your favorite podcast provider or hear us on the radio each weekend. Every Saturday morning, Bloomers in the Garden Radio is heard in Philadelphia and throughout the whole Delaware Valley, first at 8 a.m. on Talk 860 WWDB and again at 9 a.m. on AM 800 WTMR. On Sunday at 8 a.m., we can be heard through the New York tri-state area on Classic Oldies, 1250 a.m. WMTR. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you in the garden.
Welcome, everybody, to Bloomers in the Garden. Len, we love Amaryllis. We love it, don't we? Huh?
Oh, yeah. It's one of the most beautiful flowers out there.
Yeah, they are huge flowers. They're amazing to watch grow. Mm-hmm. They are incredible, aren't they?
Yep, and you know I'm a sucker for a flower with a good story.
Oh, yes, I know.
Okay. Amaryllis has its roots in Greek mythology. Did you know that?
No, I didn't.
Amaryllis means to sparkle in Greek.
Oh, okay.
And it seems to have been derived from a poem by Virgil in which the flower was named for a shepherdess, so Amaryllis, who fell madly in love with a gardener named Alteo.
Wow.
The shepherdess Amaryllis walked a path to his door daily for 1 month and pierced her own heart each day with a golden arrow. The drops of blood from Amaryllis' heart created the well-loved flower that we know today.
Mm.
A dramatic tale,
Wow.
and another reason to be a gardener.
Now let me say something about that. Len.
Yeah, tell me, Julio.
Now, why did Mr. Virgil here, our poet,
Yes.
start like blood? Come on now.
Hey, you
how about
know.
tears?
There's plenty of those things, but I guess she really liked Alteo.
Yeah, I guess she did.
But you know what? There's still a lot more symbolism. I mean, there's certainly there's symbolism in the Latin, but also in Victorian times, and I think that's how modern Amaryllis has come to be. That's why it's still so popular. So the Amaryllis was given by a man to the woman he admired, and usually red, and it's meant to symbolize radiant beauty.
Oh.
And that's why today the flower itself represents beauty and love, as well as determination, strength, and success. So,
Wow, all those things. Yeah,
one heck of a woman.
yeah, one heck of a flower.
That's right. That's right. That's right. Well, let's drop the flower for a minute and talk about the bulb. Okay, size matters.
Yes, it
no matter
does.
what people say.
Right.
The bigger the bulb, the better the flower. So you want to make sure that you get a nice sized bulb. And more, we have gotten just pure bulbs that are dipped in wax.
Yes.
And if you look on our YouTube channel, you can see me holding one right now.
It's pretty neat, huh?
Yeah, I talked to my sister yesterday.
Oh, yeah?
She has one of these on
She
her
has
counter.
one?
She
Oh,
has
wow.
one right on her counter. And she
No
didn't
kidding.
buy it from Bloomers, but
Uh-huh.
that's another story. She lives far away, folks.
Yes.
Anyway.
Yep. It's okay.
But so she has this
The wax
wax
one.
version, and all the energy is in that bulb. And we've talked about tulips and
Tulips, yeah,
daffodils,
daffodils.
where it.
Yeah.
Again, it's another thing where all of a sudden it's like a fountain. It just,
All that energy, huh?
throws up the flower, and then
Uh-huh.
all that energy's got to go back into the bulb, but it has to be fed through soil. So, but we're going to get to that. Try to look for the largest bulbs you can find, and a lot of times, like we sell them, they're in a box, already in a pot, already planted. All you have to do is just add water,
That's it.
and that it'll start growing. Usually 2 flower stalks, and that the blooms are enormous.
Oh, yeah.
How big would you say? Can you compare it to something? I mean, bigger than a hibiscus flower.
Oh, yeah.
You know,
I think so.
It's one of the largest flowers that I know of.
Yeah.
It's pretty amazing. Not hardy hibiscus, folks. Send your hate mail to Julio Zamora, care of bloomersandthegarden.com. Yeah, so it's absolutely stunning.
Mm-hmm.
Colors range anywhere from red to pink to there's a swirled white pink, and there's also white.
Amazing.
Personally, I'd love to. I have a planter box that divides 2 rooms, and I put my poinsettias there.
Yeah.
And what I'd like to do is plant white amaryllis so it blooms through, and the stalk will be above the poinsettias, and we'll have that white bloom.
Oh, boy. That's really awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the problem is,
What?
all the ones that we have are white and pink.
White and pink. Oh.
So,
Well.
anyway, great plan, but not going to work.
Not going to work, right?
So let's talk about amaryllis. The power's in the bulb. You're just going to water it. It's going to send up the flower bud. Then the stalk, rises up above that and pushes it upwards. It can be as big as 18 inches, you
Yeah,
think?
at least, yeah.
A little tall,
Yeah,
maybe
20.
not that tall. Pretty close.
15, 20.
Yep. But once the flower's on top of it is.
Yeah.
So the flower blooms. You enjoy it. It's great. It's the coolest thing ever.
Mm-hmm.
And the flowers fall off. It's done. It did its job. Everybody complimented you and said, what a beautiful flower that is. You did such a great job, and you and I know that you really just added water. So, and with the ones that are in wax, you didn't even do
Not
that.
anything, yeah.
So, but when it's done blooming, you want to cut that. You want to let the flower dry, okay? You can pinch it off if you want, but you're going to cut the stalks down about 1 inch above the bulb, and then just kind of treat it like a house plant. Keep watering it and let it get sunlight, but the leaves are like straps. They come out. They're
like that. Yeah.
And again, if you're watching this on YouTube, you can see me making the strap motion.
Yeah.
So it's it looks like, two belts.
He's doing a dance, really.
Anyway, so you're just going to leave it grow and treat it as a houseplant. And around mid-August, and this is the key, there are a lot of plants that are like this. Like, for instance, we talked about African violets a few years back.
We did.
To get them to bloom, and this also applies for peace lily. If you have a peace lily that's not blooming. Not this dramatic, but you stop watering it and you let it go dormant. Now, with the other plants I mentioned, you're not going to let it completely go dormant because that'll kill it, but you're going to let it go really, really dry. But in this case, because it's a bulb, you're going to let it go dormant, let the leaves dry up, and then you're going to cut the leaves off at the top of the bulb. Yeah. Okay? You're going to store it in a cool, dark place for 8 weeks.
2 months.
Yep. Now, you decide, when do I want it to bloom? And if you're trying to, time it for Christmas, about 2 months before Christmas, you're going to pull it out, and then you're going to start to grow it again. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
It does. It does when you're doing it. So it's a simple step. You let it grow as a house plant, but then, you got to cut it back in August and make it out after you make it go dormant. And it's just simply by not watering it. Hey.
That's easy.
It's easy for me.
Really.
I just don't care for your plants. I already do that.
Yeah.
So, but you're going to let it go completely dry.
Right.
The leaves will shrivel up, and then you're going to cut it off at the top, and then you're just going to store the bulb in a cool place. And cool, it's just think of the coolest room in the house, even like a closet, someplace where it's not going to get any sunlight. We're going to talk about Christmas cactus in a bit, and they're controlled by the amount of light they get, and poinsettias too, for that matter. So, again, you're going to see some growth after you bring it out and you start taking care of it. It's going to take a couple of weeks before that starts to swell, and then all of a sudden it's going to appear.
Again.
Yep.
Wow.
And that you want to just make sure it's supported, because you probably will get 2 flower spikes out of it.
Yeah.
Not just one.
Not just one, yeah.
Not
That's
just
the beauty
one.
of it.
And that's it.
Yeah. Remember that lady from Morristown?
Yeah.
She had it for what?
30 years or something crazy like that?
Barbara, I think.
Yeah. Barbara, if you're listening, kudos to you, because it's amazing. But the trick is forcing it into dormancy so it goes through that period of, just like we talk about all the time, like bulbs, they have to go through a period of cold. And that's what
darkness. Huh?
And darkness. And darkness.
And that's easy for a person to.
Yeah.
And like you're saying, you got to really know when to, bring it to that point.
Right.
To have it in Christmas.
Right. And the leaves, I hate to say it, but it's really not that pretty a plant without the flower.
Yeah.
So remember, they're plants, not
puppies.
So if you're done with it, you're satisfied with the flowers,
out.
Thank you.
Yep.
Right? What's that Japanese lady that we talked about that says, before you throw out something like that you have, you thank it for its use. Thank you for your use. And now, goodbye. So, but if you wanted the challenge of getting it to rebloom, you absolutely can, but it's going to take quite a while. So you're not going to have 8 months without anything. So
don't forget to bring it out.
Yeah, that's happened a lot. Like, what the heck is that?
Yeah, oops.
So,
been there for years.
Yeah. But I wouldn't be surprised if it's not too dry. It might just grow.
Yeah.
All right, we'll be right back in the garden right after this. Hi, this is Len Schroeder from Bloomers in the Garden. Do you have a landscape, garden, or plant question? If so, call or text us using the Bloomers in the Garden hotline. Dial 609-685-1880. That's 609-685-1880. Don't be shy. We want to hear from you. Call or text us and let us know what problems you're facing. Let us know how we're doing. Call or text 609-685-1880. If we use your comment on the air, we'll send you a free Bloomers t-shirt. Call or text us at 609-685-1880. That's 609-685-1880, and we'll see you in the garden. You know, some of our most frequent questions revolve around organic container gardening for houseplants, annuals, and of course, vegetables. Coast of Maine's Bar Harbor Blend Organic Potting Soil is a lightweight soil mixture made with salmon, blueberry, lobster, and other composts, as well as calcium and chitin-rich lobster shells, sphagnum peat, perlite, and kelp meal. It is a great soil. And Coast of Maine's Bar Harbor Organic Potting Soil is rich in organic material, creating lush, disease-resistant plants that require less watering, less feeding. Its rich, dark brown color provides the perfect balance between water retention and drainage needed for healthy plants. Coast of Maine's Bar Harbor Blend Organic Potting Soil is available at these local retailers: Pickering Valley Feed and Farm, Exton, PA; Ashcombs Farm and Greenhouses, Mechanicsburg, PA; Sickles, Little Silver, New Jersey. The Bird Sanctuary at Bloomer's Home and Garden Center is dedicated to the care and feeding of wild birds. We carry a flock of feeders like the Brome Squirrel Proof Feeder, which has a lifetime guarantee. Brome makes fantastic feeders for frustrating squirrels and feeding songbirds. Bloomer's Bird Sanctuary has a vast selection of wild bird seed, suet, seed cakes, and mealworms. We carry Lyric, Coles, C&S, Pine Tree Farms, and our own line called Bloomer's Blend. Bloomer's Blend Songbird Magnet contains premium black oil sunflower, peanut splits, millet, safflower, and tree nuts. It's sure to attract the most colorful songbirds to your yard. Bloomer's Home and Garden Center is located in Washington Township in Gloucester County, New Jersey. Visit us online at www.bloomers.com. When you come in, ask for Shirley Spurbeck, Bloomer's Wild Bird Specialist. Mention you heard it on Bloomers in the Garden Radio, and we'll give you $10 off a 20-pound bag of Bloomer's Blend Songbird Magnet Mix. You're listening to Bloomers in the Garden Radio. Listen anytime through your favorite podcast provider or hear us on the radio each weekend. Every Saturday morning, Bloomers in the Garden Radio is heard in Philadelphia and throughout the whole Delaware Valley, first at 8 a.m. on Talk 860 WWDB and again at 9 a.m. on AM 800 WTMR. On Sunday at 8 a.m., we can be heard through the New York tri-state area on Classic Oldies 1250 AM WMTR. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you in the garden. Welcome back to Bloomers in the Garden. I'm Len, he's Julio, and you don't see Aaron. Aaron, we need to get him on the camera.
Oh,
he's the good-looking one.
Yeah.
Yeah,
he is, isn't he?
and DJ's behind the booth.
Yes, he is.
All right, so Christmas cactus.
Oh, yeah.
My Christmas cactus only blooms at Thanksgiving.
That's it.
We know why. The Christmas cactus is actually one of my favorites because it needs very little care. Very little care.
Yeah.
There are two different plants. There's a Christmas cactus and there's a Thanksgiving cactus, and that they bloom at specific periods of time. Now, a Christmas cactus, so it's like, okay, do I have a Christmas cactus? Christmas cactus, okay, are, let's see, their leaf margins, it's more rounded. If you have one that is like serrated, that looks like it's really pretty deep cuts along the leaves, that is a Thanksgiving cactus. The good thing is they're only about a month apart.
That's it.
So if it's blooming at Christmas, it's a Christmas cactus. If it's blooming at Thanksgiving, it's a Christmas cactus. No, I'm sorry, it's a Thanksgiving cactus.
Mixed up here.
Yeah. But the thing is they look almost identical.
They do.
Now, some people call them zygote cactus, and that's an old reference. Honestly, I know what that means. But the interesting thing is that they're native to southeastern Brazil. Okay, so like all of the plants that you see, some of the varieties that are going to be different, but a lot of the plants are found in the wild. I mean, remember we had on the plant hunter, hunter from Proven Winners.
Yep.
Quick story. This guy went out and he was in Vietnam, right?
Vietnam, yeah.
And he had a guide, and they're looking for new plants. And that's what you do. You're looking for new plants. Look everywhere. It's like that plant's different. This plant's different. and they got lost. They got lost for 3 days.
Oh,
Could you imagine being in the jungle? You know, it's like...
Do they have guns?
Probably.
I hope so.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
But it's like, you know, they got lost. And like, I'd start thinking, it's like, I think I'm a hostage. You know? It's like, look, we don't have much money.
Oh, my God.
You know, I can have my family send you shrubs. You know, it's like, that's about as good as I can do.
Brother.
But I mean, just that kind of interesting life. I mean, that he has like the dream job that I wish I could always have. Yeah. So all of these plants, like the Christmas cactus or Thanksgiving cactus or zygote cactus, which is an older reference, comes from Brazil. Now, they're growing in trees. Like what do they call it? Epiphytic?
Pathetic, yeah.
So what they're doing is they're like in the crotch of trees and that. So they'll take root there and they're kind of growing off of whatever collects there and part of the tree. And that it must be beautiful, actually.
Must be awesome.
Yeah, to see.
I can imagine, yeah.
So you think about, and we talk about this all the time. It's like, all right, think about where the plant, especially with house plants, where does a plant come from?
Yeah.
You know, where was it discovered? And that, like, this is shady, humid conditions.
Yeah.
You know, you got to think. It's like, all right, that's why we sell so many Christmas cactus in hanging baskets because they cascade really.
Cascading, yeah, it's beautiful.
Now, bloom cycle, helping them bloom, they like to be in bright light, not direct sunlight, but a high light exposure. Mm-hmm. You don't want to put them in direct sun because what happens is their foliage burns.
Right.
And actually, we've had that situation where I've had one where it almost gets like, it begins to like rot from the sun. It's really strange. It doesn't, you're trying to figure out what am I doing wrong?
Yeah, something going on.
And it's actually too much sun.
Yeah.
So you want it in a bright room, but not direct sun.
Right.
Okay, so if you think about direct sun, what's direct sun? Direct sun is when it comes in through the window and it heats up the plant. Mm-hmm. You don't want that. Yeah. Okay, other plants do. Mm-hmm. Most plants do. Don't. Yeah. But this one particular, your Christmas, or we're just going to call them Christmas cactus for the rest of the show, so nobody gets confused because Thanksgiving is over.
That's right.
So Christmas cactus, okay, do not want direct sun. All right. Now, another thing. Do you have a Christmas cactus?
No.
My neighbor does. There are people, like we were just talking about the listener who has that 30-year-old Amaryllis.
Sure.
There are people that have Christmas cactus for years and years and years and years. And it's like, because they look decent even when they're not in flower.
Yeah, they do.
You know, and there's no special deal to have to get them, you know, to take care of them. But one thing, you have to control their light if you want to time them when they bloom. We're going to go over that in a second. But we covered light, not direct sunlight, but a bright room. Water, again, where do they come from? They come from a rainforest, so you want to keep them moist, not wet. And their roots need to breathe. So you want to make sure that you let them dry out a little bit before you water them, and that you don't want to keep your saucer underneath full because that'll rot out the roots for sure. So again, let them dry out a little bit. You want that air circulation because, again, as an epiphytic plant, their roots just almost exactly like a orchid.
Orchid, yeah.
Orchid is the same type of plant where it grows in the crotch of trees and it doesn't need to have a lot of soil around it. So it needs well-drained soil, that's for sure. So let it dry out before you water it. Temperatures in our houses are perfect.
It is.
You know, 65 degrees, 75 degrees. They prefer it cooler at night. Aaron and I, we all the three of us were talking about how we're keeping our thermostats down to try to control things. You know, it's like we're again saving some money.
That's
so
right. It's perfect for
your
cactuses.
Christmas cactus will love it.
That, yeah.
You know, so a little cooler at night.
Yeah, that's right.
Now they are photoperiodic. I went to college, community college. That's why I wasn't sure how to say it. I asked Julio. They require 12 to 14 hours of light of complete darkness per day in order to get them to initiate blooming. So again, if you want to time it, you have to start 8 weeks prior to when you want it in bloom. That means that you're going to put it in a closet or somewhere where it doesn't get any light, and that you're going to continue this where it's a 12 to 14 hours in the closet, and then you take it out into the darkness. So it's kind of, depending on when that starts, you're going to be taking it out, put it in the closet, when you go to work, bring it out, or the other way around. You're going to have it in the closet when you get home from work, put it in the closet, make sure it's dark. It's going to be, and then when you go to work, you bring it out, and then you put it back in. So you're not going to see your plant much for about 8 weeks. But the thing is that will initiate the bloom cycle, and that's what you want. If you don't care, like me, just be happy it's alive and it looks good. Let it bloom whenever it wants.
Yeah, that's right.
And that your lights of your house and things, and when I'm going to tell a story in a little bit when we talk about poinsettias, because they're the same way, that it can mess up their bloom cycle if you're trying to time it right, just by like a light being on or a crack in the door where it does get light, and all of a sudden you're trying to do this perfect timing and it doesn't quite work.
Throws it off, huh?
It does. But again, beautiful plant, easy to grow, can get big, and it's a multi-stemmed plant where it just gets bigger. It can fill a pot, doesn't mind being pot bound. Yeah. Love that part. Right. And that, again, just let it go dry before you water it, because it does like to have that oxygen around the root system, because, again, it's an epiphytic plant. And that's about it. Beautiful plant.
Oh, it's gorgeous.
Yep, in flower and not in flower. Anything to add?
I just love where the positioning of the flower is, right at the end of the leaf.
Yep.
I mean, you don't see that too much.
Yep. It's not a separate bud that comes out. So the bud is actually connected to each one of the leaves.
Yeah, it's really amazing. When you look at it, folks, you'll see how really cool that is.
Right? Long anthers and stamens. It's very pretty. And they're white. Like we have a red one here in the studio.
A little bit of what?
See, if we're looking at right here, so the anthers are pure white.
Pure white, isn't it?
And that it's just a very pretty contrast.
Yeah, it is.
And I'll tell you what, this would be a plant that I would not fear of giving as a gift.
Yes.
Because it's easy to take care of.
It is.
It's
pretty easy.
Set it and forget it.
Right.
All right.
Oh, right.
All right. We'll be right back in the garden talking about poinsettias right after this. Hi, this is Len Schroeder from Bloomers in the Garden. Do you have a landscape, garden, or plant question? If so, call or text us using the Bloomers in the Garden hotline. Dial 609-685-1880. That's 609-685-1880. Don't be shy. We want to hear from you. Call or text us and let us know what problems you're facing. Let us know how we're doing. Call or text 609-685-1880. If we use your comment on the air, we'll send you a free Bloomers t-shirt. Call or text us at 609-685-1880. That's 609-685-1880. And we'll see you in the garden. Fertilome Succulent Potting Mix with EcoPeat is the perfect ready-to-use potting mix for all your succulents. Fertilome Succulent Potting Mix is a blend of sphagnum peat moss, perlite, and EcoPeat. EcoPeat is a natural wood fiber from peat bogs. When added to Fertilome peat moss, it produces a superior professional substrate with an exceptional ratio of air porosity and water holding capacity. Fertilome Succulent Potting Mix will ensure maximum drainage with ideal water retention. It's simply the best succulent mix on the market. Ask for Fertilome by name at your local garden center. Available at Daniel's Garden Center, Sumneytown Pike, Harleysville, Pennsylvania. Gasper's Home and Garden, 316 Tanyard Road, Richboro, PA. Green Acres Nursery and Garden Center, West County Line Road, Colmar, Pennsylvania. Urban's Garden Center, Chestnut Street, Emmis, Pennsylvania. Laurel Oak Garden Center, Thompson Mill Road, Marlton, New Jersey. You're listening to Bloomers in the Garden Radio. Listen anytime through your favorite podcast provider or hear us on the radio each weekend. Every Saturday morning, Bloomers in the Garden Radio is heard in Philadelphia and throughout the whole Delaware Valley, first at 8 a.m. on Talk 860 WWDB, and again at 9 a.m. on AM 800 WTMR. On Sunday at 8 a.m., we can be heard through the New York tri-state area on Classic Oldies, 1250 a.m. WMTR. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you in the garden.
Welcome back, everybody, to Bloomers in the Garden. Well, Len, we're going to talk a little bit about poinsettias and how to take care of them, the basic steps you need to know.
Yep.
And you're going to be in great shape.
That's right. All right. So we're going to skip our notes for a second.
Right.
Julio, we're going to talk about your mom.
Oh, yes.
Your mom had a poinsettia for years.
Oh, yeah.
All right. How many years?
Like probably three or four. I know that because she would buy one,
right,
and then let it grow, and then she put it outside, let it grow bigger, and then she bring it back in again. It was pretty big.
Well, we're going to give you the basics first. How much light does poinsettia like? Poinsettia, likes enough light so that you can comfortably read a newspaper. Okay, so it doesn't need to be in full direct sun or anything like that, and that it will hold on to the red part, and we're going to be talking about that in a minute, or the pink or the white or what have you, what most people mistakenly call the flowers, because they're actually bracts, part of a leaf, modified leaf. But water, moist, not wet, sound familiar?
Yeah.
Likes to have air circulation around it, but not drafts. Not next to a vent, not next to a door that gets opened all the time. Oh, it's a struggle sometimes. When we're full with poinsettias, like right now.
Right now, yeah.
I mean, when that automatic door opens up and all of a sudden the poinsettia leaves move, I'm like, no! So,
help!
Yeah, my friend. But again, it's like, close the door! Get in here!
Who opened up that door?
But then you always have that customer that's standing in the door and it keeps opening and shutting and opening and shutting. It's like, all right.
Come on now. Either in or out, right?
All right, we're going to get into it if you don't move your butt out of the way of the door. I've got our poinsettias here. We want them to be the best.
Yeah, that's right.
I mean, the worst thing is that forced hot air heat ducts.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and it's like, I don't know what happened.
Yeah.
And it's strange because what'll happen is the leaves and the flowers will get like these little spots all over them.
Yeah.
And it's actually the lack of moisture in the plant. So
be careful.
Again,
be careful.
Drafts aren't good, but otherwise they're pretty easy to take care of.
Yeah.
As far as being poisonous, now we're going to have a full show dedicated to poinsettia next week.
Wow.
And we're going to address that next week. Not this week, okay? This week, we're going to talk about its care. It is an over-exaggeration about the poinsettia poison.
Yeah.
Okay?
So
But, again, if you're concerned, contact your Poison Control Center, and they will let you know that it's really not that poisonous. Anyway, Julio said that.
That's right.
Julio, no misinformation. All right, so back to your mom.
Yeah.
Okay? So she would put it outside.
Yeah.
Now, but she tried to get it to bloom?
No. It would turn, it turned green.
It would turn green.
Yeah.
So she wouldn't, what would it be like at Christmas time the following year?
Just green.
Just green?
Yeah.
Okay.
But she loved that. I mean, she liked the
Yeah.
plant. She likes the plant.
And that's it. It was not a
about
holiday thing. It was
No.
just a pretty plant.
It is, yeah.
Kind of like how we were talking about the Christmas cactus.
Right.
All right, so here we go. If you want to get your poinsettia to rebloom, you're nuts. No, I'm sorry. Julio. That was TJ. Keep it down in there.
You got too much time in your hands.
No. Because they're plants.
Not puppies.
Okay, here's why. All right. If you want your poinsettia to bloom, here's what you need to do, okay? All right. Starting New Year's Day.
Right.
Okay.
There you go.
Feed your plant. Okay.
That's it.
Make sure you keep giving it adequate light and water, and it'll bloom. I've had one in bloom all the way through Valentine's Day.
Wow. That's pretty good.
Yeah. Impressive, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't do much
Impressive.
of anything other than just kind of water it and just keep it in the right conditions.
Beautiful.
All right. Valentine's Day comes. What's nice. Now you got to start looking for insects. White fly, they'll get a little leggy. If it gets leggy, cut it back to about 4 to 5 inches tall.
That's it.
Okay, St. Patrick's Day. And I got this information, by the way. A great calendar is by Dr. Leonard Perry, extension professor at the University of Vermont. And he has the author of Caring for Your Poinsettia Year-Round. Look it up.
Yep.
St. Patrick's Day. Prune off the faded, dry parts of your plant.
That's right.
This is why. Sorry. I spent $20 at Chick-fil-A the other day. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, it was me.
It was. Yeah, right.
I got a coffee and I got a milkshake. All right.
it.
And I got a soda as well.
Oh, boy.
Diet Coke.
Oh, yeah.
Coke, if you'd like to be a sponsor.
Yeah.
We're looking.
That's right.
Anyway.
We're playing
So think about what you paid for your poinsettia, okay? If I'm paying that much at Chick-fil-A and I'm only renting it, you can have a poinsettia for months.
Oh, yeah, I know.
But if you want to get it to rebloom at St. Patrick's Day, you got to prune off those flowers. And again, you want to keep it to like you're pruning it back to like 5 inches tall. You're keeping it cut down.
Yeah.
You go all the way to Memorial Day, end of May. Okay. Now you're really cutting it back.
Wow.
You want to cut it back to about 3 inches so that it grows wider. Did I mention about maybe putting it in a different pot?
No. Better.
Consider it.
Yep.
Because it's going to be this bigger plant now. Father's Day, we're into June. Not much, not far from then. Move your plant outside.
Right.
Like Julio's mom.
That's right.
Okay. Indirect light. And you can even transplant it. And I like this idea. Just plant it in your garden.
That's what she did.
Did she?
Yeah. Put it in the garden.
So put it right in your garden because you can always dig it up and move it. 4th of July.
Boom.
Did you know the poinsettia that you bought this year, it was started at the greenhouses in June.
In June. Wow.
Isn't that amazing?
That's amazing. Wow.
So the next time you look at a poinsettia, you say, $10.99. I don't know. It took 6 months to grow. It's not like, I got my iPhone.
Overnight.
I'm holding up my iPhone. What, $1,200 for a lousy iPhone? And it takes 10 minutes to make, where these guys who are selling poinsettias for,
Taking a long time.
a little respect, everybody.
That's right.
A little respect. Farmers always getting short end of the stick. Anyway, so Father's Day, you're going to move it outside, plant it in your garden. 4th of July, time to trim again.
There you go.
You're finding a pattern. You're finding a pattern. Now you start to take care of it like you do your mom. What do we say about moms? Their plants not
puppies again.
All right. Anyway, so it's going to start to grow now. This summer it's going to put on some major growth. Labor Day, you move it inside in a spot that gets 6 hours direct light daily. Okay, if you have a spot that gets more, that's good. New growth will really shoot up. But reduce the fertilizer that you've been giving it and just put it at like quarter strength. That's all you know. That's all you need to do. Starting on September 21st, it's the fall equinox. You ready?
Here we go.
16 hours of uninterrupted darkness.
Oh, we like that.
8 hours of bright light every day.
Right.
Keep that going for the next. You got to keep that going and put it in your cold room. Which room's the coldest room in your house, Aaron? We're talking about that.
Basement?
The basement. There you go. Well, but it's got to get the light in the darkness.
Yeah,
so
it does.
Again, if it doesn't get the darkness, it's not going to be pulled into bloom. So. And here's the other thing. Rotate the plant so that it gets even light on all sides, or else you'll have like the one side will look weird. But if you're moving it inside and out of the closet, you're going to do that anyway. So just be aware of it. Okay. You do that from September 21st until Thanksgiving.
That's it. Yeah, right.
Their plant's not.
Puppies.
Okay, so now you're done. Put the plants in a sunny spot, gets at least 6 hours direct sun, reduce the water, letting it dry out between watering, and you can feed it. And then Christmas, your new poinsettia will be in bloom again.
Wow,
Hey,
look at
hey!
How easy is that?
There are more poinsettias in closets right now that are left from last year.
Yeah, probably.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah. What's that doing there?
Anyway, it is very difficult to do,
Yeah, it is.
and like I said, give some credit to the growers. I mean,
Yeah, they do.
what they have to do.
Fantastic
and
job.
I said I was going to tell a story where this one grower had his greenhouse range and been growing poinsettias for years, generations almost. The town decided to put lights on the street. Oh, that was nice.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, completely threw off his poinsettia crop. And what happened is that he didn't have any poinsettias for Christmas.
Oh, gosh.
Because the light from the street lights screwed up his poinsettia, the photoperiodic.
Right.
There's that $10 word again.
Uh-huh.
Because that's what controls it to bloom.
Oh, wow. Poor guy.
Drop the mic.
Yep.
So my suggestion is you take one less visit to Chick-fil-A and buy a poinsettia. Done. Done.
How easy is that?
I mean, like the smaller ones are the cost of a Happy Meal.
It is.
Aaron, you got kids,
Yeah.
Yeah, but when the kids are screaming they're hungry,
Yeah,
they're
you
not going
might
to eat a
want-
poinsettia.
No, they're not.
And they shouldn't, because we're going to talk about that next week. So don't let anybody eat your poinsettia until you listen to next week's show. But honestly, folks, they're plants, not
Puppies.
so. Get a new one each year. It's a whole lot easier. But if you are a horticulturist and you feel challenged and you want to do it,
Go ahead.
good luck. You can let us know how you're doing. And if you did it this year, I want you to call the hotline at 609-685-1880. We want to hear your story. I'd love to put that on here.
Oh,
for
yes, we would.
Sure. All right. We're going to be back talking about Christmas trees. Yes, the prices are up. We'll be right after this. We'll be back. Hi, this is Len Schroeder from Bloomers in the Garden. Do you have a landscape, garden, or plant question? If so, call or text us using the Bloomers in the Garden hotline. Dial 609-685-1880. That's 609-685-1880. Don't be shy. We want to hear from you. Call or text us and let us know what problems you're facing. Let us know how we're doing. Call or text 609-685-1880. If we use your comment on the air, we'll send you a free Bloomers t-shirt. Call or text us at 609-685-1880. That's 609-685-1880. And we'll see you in the garden. Your next houseplant is waiting for you in Bloomers Home and Garden Center's greenhouse. Bloomers recognizes that houseplant choices are as important to your interior decorating as the fabric on your couch. The right plant, paired with the perfect container, can bring a dynamic change to your home. A houseplant brings life to your world and connects your home's interior to the greater outdoors. Even a small succulent placed on your coffee table has a way of connecting your living room to the Amazon rainforest. How about an air plant in your kitchen? Looking for an indoor flowering plant to add color to your plant palette? Bloomers has a large revolving assortment of flowering beauties. From aglaonemas to ZZ plants, Bloomers Greenhouse is stocked with your next favorite indoor plant. Bloomers carries a large selection of pottery and containers to match your home's decor and make any of your plants more beautiful. Bloomers experts can help you care for your plants and have the fertilizer, insecticides, leaf shine, and specialty soils you need to grow healthy and happy indoor plants. Visit Bloomers Home and Garden Center's greenhouse and make every room in your home a living room. Visit bloomers.com for more information. That's bloomers.com, and we'll see you in the garden.
Dreaming of a gorgeous garden? Give your azaleas, rhododendron, blueberries, and evergreens a powerful boost with their #1 acid-loving plant food, Espoma Organic Hollytone. Hollytone is a perfect blend of natural, long-lasting ingredients that nourish plants for stronger roots, faster growth, and bountiful blooms. Plus, it's easy to use and safe for people, pets, and planet. Visit espoma.com for a retailer near you and helpful gardening tips. Espoma, a natural in the garden since 1929.
You're listening to Bloomers in the Garden Radio. Listen anytime through your favorite podcast provider or hear us on the radio each weekend. Every Saturday morning, Bloomers in the Garden Radio is heard in Philadelphia and throughout the whole Delaware Valley, first at 8 a.m. on Talk 860 WWDB and again at 9 a.m. on AM 800 WTMR. On Sunday at 8 a.m., we can be heard through the New York tri-state area on Classic Oldies, 1250 a.m. WMTR. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you in the garden. Welcome back to Bloomers in the Garden. Julio,
Yeah.
this year again,
Uh-huh.
the Christmas tree market is crazy.
It is.
It is crazy.
Yeah, it is.
Prices have pretty much doubled over the last 5 years. But to be honest, I feel that they're where they should be.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like we were talking about poinsettias takes 6 months to grow.
Mm-hmm.
A Christmas tree takes 10 to 15 years to grow.
Yeah.
I mean, you talk about an investment in a crop.
Right.
You know, there was a time a few years back, and it was about the time where the financial crisis hit.
Mm-hmm.
Farmers they had to clear their fields, and some it's a little deeper than that. And so they were dumping trees on the market.
Wow.
And that the trees were cheap. And like we were selling trees for like $30 or something like that.
I remember that. Yeah, I remember.
And it was just wrong. It was just wrong. It's like, what, $2 a year?
Yeah.
You know? So when we're talking about prices, anywhere from what? We have 6 to 7 foot trees that are like anywhere from $80 to like an 8 to 9 big Fraser fir for about $150.
Yeah.
And for a decent tree that has some life to it and that's going to live, that's what you're going to pay. If you're seeing something that's really cheap, it's either going to be ugly or it's not going to be that good. Because here's what happened. Okay, so going back to the financial crisis, 2006, 2011, right in there, value of real estate tanked, and farmers sold off their trees. I just mentioned that. But they couldn't afford to put new seedlings in the ground. So they didn't buy seedlings to replant. Seedling producers, and that actually is a thing where there's, guys that you buy seedlings, farmers will buy, 100,000, rooted cuttings and plant them in the ground. But because they weren't buying, you look at how many did we sell last year? We sold this many. It's like, all right, so this is going to be our goal. Maybe we'll get lucky. Things will get better. We'll increase it by 10%. But with the amount that it was off, it wasn't enough to supply the farmers that now could plant. Then enter COVID.
That's another one.
Yeah. So I guess, all of us that have homes realize that, holy crap, the price of our neighbor's house sold for what?
Yeah. What's going on?
Farmer said the same thing. That farm down the street, what? You want to pay me this?
Yeah.
Honey, we're retiring.
That's right. See you later.
And like one of the largest farms in North Carolina last year, and it was without warning, said, sorry, no trees.
No trees.
100,000 trees off the market. 100,000 trees off the market.
Wow.
Created a shortage. Now, some trees are grown in Oregon and out west. There was a heat wave, and it was a drought, and anything they planted died. You add all these things together. Canada, the Downies. My father was unloading a train load. They used to come by rail. And he was unloading a rail car of Christmas trees with Richard Downey when Kennedy was shot.
No kidding.
You know how everybody says, where were you when
that happened? You
I
were in the trailer. Yeah, right.
But in any case, my dad was unloading trees.
Wow.
And the Downies have been, like, in Canada, they were the best tree growers, and they grew balsams. And that sold out, sold their ground, and they're done. They're not producing trees at all. So types of trees. We're just going to get to that. Douglas fir, balsam fir, Fraser fir. Douglas fir are a little bit. They're a little bit on the yellow green. Not yellow is the wrong word. Lime green.
Lime green. Yeah.
If you give it that, Fraser and balsam look almost identical. They're a dark green. But if you look under the needle, and I'm showing it here on our YouTube channel, if you look under it, it's more distinctive on a Fraser where it's like it's almost like dark green, and on the back is like a light gray.
Yeah,
And that it's very distinctive on a Fraser. And even though it is distinctive on a balsam, it is not as much of a contrast as it is on a Fraser. So what does that mean? Frasers are mostly produced here in the United States, some in Canada, balsams mostly in Canada. And a lot of reasons is that it just gets too warm here in the summers to be able to produce them. The Frasers are done in North Carolina, mostly in the mountains. Either one, Fraser, balsam, Douglas, you can't go wrong.
Yes.
But what you do is, happens is when you bring it home, you want to spray it with wilt stop. That's an anti-transpirant. We talk about this all the time. And it will encapsulate the needles and keep the moisture in the plant. Yeah. In the stand, you want to use Prolong. Prolong will stop the tree from callousing over, so it will still absorb water. If you don't use it, it'll callus over. The sap will just end up sealing it so that it's not going to absorb any water. And just something smart, put the tree removal bag underneath the tree, underneath your stand, before you decorate the tree. You know, trying to put it in afterwards, it is a mess. So do it before, when you bring the tree in, put that removal bag underneath the stand, and then that way you bring the whole thing out, and you don't leave the Christmas tree needles in your house and in your carpet. Oof, that's the worst. That's the worst. Thank goodness for hardwood floors.
Yes.
And one thing, folks, always keep water in the stand. Always. Yeah. Always. Christmas trees can become dangerous if they dry out. If you've ever seen a piece of a Christmas tree burn, the actual needles explode. Wow. We were talking about fat wood the other day, and it's the same type of thing where it's the sap that's that's stored in it that is absolutely a combustible, but that's why you do the wilt-proof or wilt stop, and you do the Prolong, because that will keep your tree fresh, and that's what you want. That's what you want. All right, we'll be right back for a quick segment right after this. Hi, this is Len Schroeder from Bloomers in the Garden. Do you have a landscape, garden, or plant question? If so, call or text us using the Bloomers in the Garden hotline. Dial 609-685-1880. That's 609-685-1880. Don't be shy. We want to hear from you. Call or text us and let us know what problems you're facing. Let us know how we're doing. Call or text 609-685-1880. If we use your comment on the air, we'll send you a free Bloomers t-shirt. Call or text us at 609-685-1880. That's 609-685-1880. And we'll see you in the garden. You know, some of our most frequent questions revolve around organic container gardening for houseplants, annuals, and of course, vegetables. Coast of Maine's Bar Harbor Blend Organic Potting Soil is a lightweight soil mixture made with salmon, blueberry, lobster, and other composts, as well as calcium and chitin-rich lobster shells, sphagnum peat, perlite, and kelp meal. It is a great soil. And Coast of Maine's Bar Harbor Organic Potting Soil is rich in organic material, creating lush, disease-resistant plants that require less watering, less feeding. Its rich, dark brown color provides the perfect balance between water retention and drainage needed for healthy plants. Coast of Maine's Bar Harbor Blend Organic Potting Soil is available at these local retailers:
Haynes Garden Center, Cinnaminson, New Jersey. Burlington Agway, Burlington, New Jersey. Sickles Market, Little River, New Jersey.
Dreaming of a gorgeous garden? Give your azaleas, rhododendron, blueberries, and evergreens a powerful boost with their #1 acid-loving plant food, Espoma Organic Hollytone. Hollytone is a perfect blend of natural, long-lasting ingredients that nourish plants for stronger roots, faster growth, and bountiful blooms. Plus, it's easy to use and safe for people, pets, and planet. Visit espoma.com for a retailer near you and helpful gardening tips. Espoma, a natural in the garden since 1929. Welcome back to Bloomers in the Garden. A listener texted the Bloomers in the Garden hotline and asked us to mention to our listeners how poison ivy berries are a great winter food source to songbirds.
That's right. That's right. Did you know that like deer and other animals, that man is the only one that is affected by poison ivy?
Poison ivy, yeah. Is that something?
So those husbands out there, guess what? You can just leave it there.
Yeah.
You got permission. But if it's in the backyard or what have you can leave it there because there are so many birds that will eat those berries, and they're really abundant. Like if you look, there's a white berry, and I guess, let's see, I've got a short list here of flickers, quail, cedar waxwings, woodpeckers, titmouse, robins. They all eat the berries. It's just ironic. Why don't deer, like if they eat, and they eat the leaves, why don't their mouth get like, or their lips or whatever get poison ivy? I don't know. Anyway.
That's a doctor, right?
Also, if you have not cut back your perennials and you have coneflower, black-eyed Susan, coreopsis, asters, anything with a pronounced food head, also rose hips, leave them there. Birds will eat it. Birds will eat it. So leave them out until the seed heads are gone, and then you can go ahead and cut them back. Anything to add, Hool?
No, that's it right there, boy.
That's right. And when it gets real cold, most important thing is not only seed, but water. You want to get a bird bath that has a heater in it so that the birds can get water. All right, back in the garden right after this. Hi, this is Len Schroeder from Bloomers in the Garden. Do you have a landscape, garden, or plant question? If so, call or text us using the Bloomers in the Garden hotline. Dial 609-685-1880. That's 609-685-1880. Don't be shy. We want to hear from you. Call or text us and let us know what problems you're facing. Let us know how we're doing. Call or text 609-685-1880. If we use your comment on the air, we'll send you a free Bloomers t-shirt. Call or text us at 609-685-1880. That's 609-685-1880. And we'll see you in the garden.
See me and Julio down by the schoolyard.
Wow.
Me and you, Julio, another show.
Another show, huh? Wow.
Yeah.
Incredible. How about those Amaryllis, huh?
I
love it.
love Amaryllis. I love the story. I love the story about all plants. Next week, wait till you hear about the story of the poinsettia.
Yeah, it's gonna be
It's
great.
got intrigue. It's like, it's a spy, spies in it. It's political intrigue.
Yeah.
It's goes back to Montezuma. It's going to be fun. So make sure you're listening. I think one thing is how much work and what it takes to grow a poinsettia.
Yes.
Photoperiodic plants are everywhere, and that a lot of times you don't realize, like, how come one plant blooms at this time and not the other? Absolutely happens all the time. So I don't know. I tell you what, guys, it is amazing plant, the poinsettia. Make sure, give it the respect that it certainly deserves. I know that I do, and the amount of varieties are unbelievable.
Yes,
you'll hear it next week.
Yes,
right here in the garden.
See you in the garden.